Hello, everybody. Welcome to the World of Brickfilms podcast. I am your host, William of IW Studios. Joining me, as always, is my good friend and co-host, Sean Willis of City Panther.
I can't believe it's been 2 years since we did the BRAWL episode with Sanjira.
Yeah. And our special guests today are Lewis Townley of Bricks and Pieces and James Cawood.
Hello.
Hello! Yeah.
This is a very rare kind of occasion where the time zone difference between us isn't night and day. Because usually we're always talking to someone in America or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a very, very rare occasion.
Americans do make up quite a big bit of the brick filming, I guess, community, I'd assume, or just people in the West.
Actually, what time is it in South Africa?
Oh, I'm only 1 hour ahead. It's 9:09. Although depending on the year, because we don't have daylight savings here, it could be 1 hour, 2 hours ahead.
Just right off the bat, congratulations, guys, on coming third place in BRAWL.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks. Can I call you William?
Absolutely, yeah.
I was about to call you LOTW, and then I switched between Light on the Water Studios, and I was like, that's a bit much, isn't it? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was happy to see you jumped up from 10th.
Yeah.
You were getting a bit of a streak there, 10th place.
We were aiming for at least 9th place, so exceeded expectations.
Honestly, wouldn't have minded 10th. It is quite a nice number. I feel like, I don't know, there's something about coming 10th in those contests. I feel like most people, for some reason, either look at the first, the top three, maybe the 5th and then the 10th. I don't know, I guess it's just something about being, at the bottom. I don't know, I'm rambling, but I do. Honest to God, I swear I usually check out the last one for a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you want to work your way to the top.
Yeah, and then I never get through the rest. That's usually what happens.
Yeah, so in other words, the best place positions are 10th and 1st.
Yeah.
Although this year there's also 15th.
Yeah, kind of put a hole in that.
So I think it's so for this year it's kind of it's quite mad. I think it's double the amount of entries to last year, isn't it?
Not quite. Last year was 43. This year is 66.
Yeah, that is quite a big increase. No lie.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, you look at the top 15, and even the ones that didn't place, they are top 10 material generally,
Yeah, in a different year, some of the ones that aren't even in the top 15 could have been top 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, you lot was mentioning it earlier before we started recording. This whole thing about, I guess there's a lot of new people or people you don't recognise. And I guess it was definitely an insurgence of, I guess, new faces, obviously with the increased number of participants. But I guess it's just nice, I guess, in many ways, because I think a lot of people also say the same people win every year, and maybe they do because quality's quality. They're obviously going to continue to put out quality stuff if they enter. But genuinely, there are a lot of new faces, a lot of great new talent. That I was really, and Real Force didn't even make top 15. I loved his entry and all that, but that's also shocking to me. This goes to show how many new people there are.
Well, I suppose I don't know how much I'd want to get into behind the scenes judging stuff or whatever, but I really liked Real Force's one as well, and I actually ranked it pretty high. But then it was pointed out to me, it was where's the theme? And then I looked at it again, I was like, oh yeah, you're right.
I guess interpretation of the theme is important. Although I will say it is quite limiting.
It kind of fell easily for that reason.
That is a bit sad.
If people want to replace entries with something else, it's kind of an easy argument to make. Well, that one basically doesn't have the theme at all, so it's out.
Yeah, I think as well it's kind of for me, I never really think too much about the theme because I worry that if I think too much about the theme, then it will be too obvious. So in a lot of ways, the theme is always a bit of an afterthought. I always have it kind of in consideration because of obviously, but I sometimes worry it's this balance. It's like this balancing act. You're kind of trying to think. I want the theme to be subtle, but I don't want the theme to be too subtle. It's quite funny, really.
Yeah, and actually, I think you mentioned the idea that people might think, oh, the same people win every year, and I just think it's funny. I guess I can understand how people might think that, but at the same time, the whole reason you do contests is, you want some good brick films to get made. So
Yeah.
if people want to come along and make high quality stuff every time, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's
I mean, I do feel like no one's ever going to complain about Trick or Brick coming top 3 because it's Trick or Brick and look at the stuff they make, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's hard to argue against that.
These Bricks in Motion contests, obviously they had the reputation of going for many years, but even then, they've dipped in and out of numbers. And I do think there's something about them, just beyond the whole, it's a I would say that the summer contest has pretty good prizes going for it. I mean, Dragon Frame, Brick stuff, all that.
Dragon Frame.
That is great. But I don't think that people really enter these for the prizes. And I it is kind of that thing of like, it's the kind of contest that you just want to do. And you don't really feel like you're wasting time on it, especially if you don't come first or like for a long time.
but yeah,
Because I do think it can be quite demoralizing, especially seeing who you're up against in a lot of these contests,
And there's something so satisfying about, whether it's Stack or Brawl, knowing that you can get a film out, put it on your channel within a week or a day or whatever it is.
I love that
and
too,
having people know the context as well. Like, hey guys, this was meant to be made in a day, so like excuse the really bad quality.
But no, it's funny though. Like, I think the other day someone was messaging me about like, if you won, what prize would you like to get? And I was like, oh yeah, I completely forgot what the prize is. I just don't really care,
You don't think about the prizes.
Well, yeah, it's always been said, if ever there's somebody who's like a bit too into the idea of like, oh, why should I even bother? I'm not going to place, It's always been said like that you're supposed to do these for fun and just for the being involved in a community event. So that's kind of the atmosphere that's been fostered over a long time.
Yeah, I mean, also
It's the kind of
it's also like being willing to just try something completely different to what you've done before. Because I feel like if you've done really well before, if there's the temptation to do pretty much the same thing again, it's big, and that's going to be the biggest pushback to you if you just try and do like what you did before. Like there was a point when I was trying to come up with an idea when I was planning to just do a sequel to my BRAWL 2018 entry, and I thought this is actually a really crap idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also good not to just do it as, I think most people, decide beforehand whether or not they're going to do one of these contests, but if an idea really isn't coming to you, at least for BRAWL, it is kind of best to leave it be. I think Thack, you can kind of get away with putting out maybe a less than good idea, because it isn't really much on you, but like BRAWL I feel can also be a lot more strenuous, and it's, I don't know, it's
especially
a lot more degrading.
Because it's over a longer period of time. If you don't like the idea you're doing, then it's not as, you don't have as much motivation to, make it to the best possible quality.
Yeah. I do still get a bit like, I don't understand people who be like, oh, I didn't have a good idea. I don't know. Like, I feel like you can kind of come up with something, more or less. But I guess whatever. Even if it's just a little joke, little gag.
The cliche is like, oh, the first idea you come up with is bad, but sometimes it's literally just like taking that idea and just making it less and less bad as you go along.
It's an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah, that's something I found doing collaborations. So many collaborations, especially for BRAWL.
I have not done a single solo entry for BRAWL.
No, that's true. It's because I just really like bouncing ideas off someone else. If we come up with initially a really bad idea, we can take something good from that, and then just have that back and forth conversation to shape an idea into something worth doing.
But come to think of it, I suppose we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves here. Generally we start a bit earlier in these, so I suppose we should ask, like, how did the two of you get into brickfilming? Do you have a similar origin story, or quite different?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I thought we were just having like general conversation. Well, BP, you started before me, so I suppose that you can have your go.
So I first started brickfilming back in, I think it was the end of 2011. I was 10 years old, and at this point, I didn't have a smartphone. I didn't have a computer of my own, So I hadn't really seen any Brickfilms whatsoever at that point, because I didn't really have access to the internet. But I was a big fan of Aardman Animations, and like Wallace and Gromit and Shaun the Sheep and that. And I had a Nintendo 3DS at the time, which I played on a lot, and they actually did an update to the camera app, which allowed you to make stop motion animations on. So I wanted to like give stop motion a go. I thought it'd be a cool idea. Didn't know how to make like big Wallace and Gromit-esque characters, but I had a load of Lego lying about, so yeah, just started from there.
And don't forget the blue tag.
Yeah, more Pentanose, what's up, Pentanose?
Yeah. After doing like a year and a half of Lego animations, I created a channel in 2013 with a friend of mine called Blue Tap Bloke, which was a claymation-esque thing with Blue Tack. This character called Blue Tap Bloke, 10-episode series where he'd go on quite James Bond inspired adventures, and look, it's complete crap if you go back to it and watch it, but I have such fond memories of doing that with my friends. So
I didn't know you did that like amid your brick filming career. I thought that was like before.
No, I actually had a channel before Blue Tap Bloke with some really bad animations, but yeah, I'm not sure if I want to name that one.
Yeah, Blue Tap Bloke still stands up, holds up really well, man. You should be really proud of it. I'd say it's a landmark achievement in your career.
Oh, thank you very much.
I mean, you can't get as much as you know, as cringe as my first stuff. You know, I was starting out, so yeah.
Well, I think everyone just hates what they did in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like
It's funny. Everyone hates what they did at first, but to other people looking in, they're like, "Oh, it's just your first videos. You know, just leave them there."
Yeah. I've actually uploaded the very first 2 animations I did to my second channel, but yeah, and a lot of my early stuff you can find on the internet if you dig deep enough, but
Panta.
I'm sure one day.
Yeah, don't say.
Oh, no.
Panta, you scare me. You know so much, dude. You're like the Nardwuar of the brick filming community.
So how about you then, James? What was your origin story?
Well, you know, I've always been a really creative guy. You know, always writing, always drawing. I was very musically talented. I could play the violin at 3 years old. No, but I actually, I was always drawing and writing and interested in creative stuff for some reason. It sounds really cliche saying that now, because you always hear that kind of stuff in movies and whatnot. You know, child prodigy. It wasn't anything like that, but I've kind of just been on an upward, streak of just upping my my creative outlets and stuff. So like I started doing like writing, and then I did live action stuff, and then I did 2D animation, and then I did stop motion, which it was crap as well. I beat you around the bush, yeah, but kept going, kept pushing, and I remember the first stop motion I saw was Lucky 28, the cooking with Wormtail. That was just really, man, that was funny. And I was like, yo, what is this? Because like looking back on that now, it's like, that's not really the most impressive stop motion. I'm going to be honest. It is kind of like, it must have been like 5 FPS, incredible light flicker, all that kind of, I'm not trying, it was great at the time though. And then I saw Michael Hickox and I was like, oh, this guy's a legend. And I found out what the concept of stop motion was then. Because to me, Lucky 28 was like, this guy's like he's a genius.
He's a wizard.
Yeah, exactly. How is this man doing it? And I tried to make my own with like camera. I was like, well, my hands are in it. I don't know how to get my hands out of it, I couldn't understand it. And then Michael Hickox explained to me, I was like, oh, that's cool. But I don't know, I didn't really get into it then. And then I saw Brotherhood Workshop, and I was like, this man is a legend. This is peak. You kind of have to see someone who's a master at it, I think, to really get into it. I don't know. You see like top-notch stuff to really be like, that is inspiring. Well, I guess it is with most things, but and then Lord of the Rings was really what I based everything on. I don't know if that was because of Brotherhood Workshop or just Lord of the Rings itself, but that was where I started, and then I gradually went into other things, and I think I was on that streak for a while, and then I recreated. I did like a movie recreation of The Hobbit, The Battle of Five Armies, and I think I got all that Hobbit and Middle Earth stuff out of my system. And but that was me.
Kind of seems like there was a whole like Lord of the Rings Hobbit brick filming scene for like a couple of years there.
Yeah, no, that was what I came into, and that was what I was involved in. All over Hangouts. That was where we were, and I still have really fond connections and memories of the people who I met there, and it feels like 1,000 years ago. It's really crazy. I mean, I like the one guy, like Gabriel Clift, who actually. It was like one of the first people who I came in contact with. It was so weird because he quit like back in 2013 or something, 2014. And then on Instagram the other day, he starts popping up in my feed again. The guy has got a beard and everything. Like, I don't know, it's so weird seeing these people grow up, It's really sad.
Yeah. It is surreal, yeah.
Yeah. It's really cute, actually. I don't know. I like it. This is the one place where I feel like I've kind of been able to keep in contact, yet still be somewhat distant with people. Even though I don't know anyone, it's been really weird seeing just how people have changed and evolved and grown out of things and then grown into things. All that stuff.
And sometimes you see them going into careers on,
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen that
proper
a lot,
films,
right, Fencer? I mean, I don't know. You've been around a while.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of any brick filmers who have actually made it big, but then again, I wouldn't know because it kind of does become disconnected from their.
Yeah. A lot of the
career.
times it's like they're not really active on like social media or whatever, so you don't really know what they're up to now. But yeah, it's surprising just how many actually do go on to filmmaking.
Well, I mean, one of the really interesting stories that came out very recently was about Zoot, like his story.
I did see that video today, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He made for his new channel.
Yeah. Like going from being a stop motion animator, a brick filmer just a few years ago to being this, like, working for an anime studio in Japan. Like, it's amazing, really.
Oh yeah, I did see that actually. Yeah,
He posted the whole story of how like it stems from brick filming.
And I mean, the thing is, you forget, like, because brick filmers have this kind of level of kind of privacy to their life. You forget, like, that they could be having this hugely successful life and not necessarily be actively telling you about it.
That is true.
Sometimes when you're like really deep in the community, it almost feels like they haven't released a brick film in a while. I guess they're not doing anything.
Yeah, that is true. Okay, but then Penta, do you know of anyone? Like, I was also reminded of like Dylan Woodley. When he came back now with Bimpson. Like, what a legendary return. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I'd prefer if he made a brick film.
I mean, Bimpson, like, pretty culturally relevant right now. What can I say? I accept it. I'm very thankful for his contribution to our society right now.
I belong in the kind of, like, crowd of people who do not approve of Bimpson.
This is the great political debate of our times.
Why? What's wrong with Bimpson? I thought it was just funny video.
I just don't get it. Like, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
it ended up on the YouTube trending page, didn't it, at one point?
Actually, what the flip?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Why did it get so famous?
It's just one of those stories of when somebody posts something on Reddit and it just won the Reddit lottery.
Oh, jeez, how many views it got? Jeez, that's mental. That is kind of sad as well, though. I don't know.
Especially
How many views
as
it
it's
got?
overtaken.
500,000.
Oh, it's not bad.
Yeah,
Nearly.
That's more than Pokeball in 2, right?
Yeah, it's just overtaken Pokeball in 1
That
as
is
well.
pretty sad, to be honest.
Yeah.
Although
Pokeball in 2
I feel
is
like
nice,
I feel like in the grand scheme of things, like the way that the impact it's had, it feels like it's had like millions of views. I'm actually kind of surprised it actually only has that much. Actually.
Yeah, it is weird. I don't know. I might also.
I guess
might feel like it's bigger than it is because I see it on Twitter or whatever from Dylan himself.
I guess the brick film community, when people talk about something more than once, it feels bigger than it actually is.
Yeah. It is,
I did like when
true.
Dylan posted the like obviously fake DMs with Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah.
Pretending like Seth MacFarlane was trying to scam him, and like there was people in the replies who thought it was real.
Well, I wasn't sure either. I was like, this totally wouldn't happen, but like,
I fell for
unless. Yeah, no. I was like, it was geniusly done. Man's a clever guy.
I mean, I suppose it's easier to tell that it's totally fake when you're familiar with like his sense of humor.
Ah, okay, yeah, that is true as well. Yeah, well, Vimpson
But-
in
but-
general.
To get a bit back on topic,
Yeah, sorry.
so how did the two of you first encounter each other? Because you've done a lot of collaborative events and films.
This is true. This is actually a funny story, I think. I don't know who wants to tell it though.
I mean, I'm interested to hear your side of it.
Well, I barely remember it. Well, what?
I remember it quite clearly, actually.
Okay, well, I can just say where I was before, leading up to it, and I'll start with that, and then you can continue. But, like, in the middle of my, I guess, phasing out of Middle-earth, and I think it was because the Hobbit movies were coming to a close, and in general, the community was kind of dying down. I kind of made my transition into the overwhelming rising popularity of the superhero community. Oh, God. Oh, kill me. Cancer. I'm joking. I really don't look back fondly on that. I'm sorry. And then of course there was the MBU, which was really popular.
I remember that. Yeah.
A really interesting concept, I thought, as well, and really popular. Like I said, and a lot of Brickfilmers wanted to be in a part of it, but there was a kind of, I guess, quality gap, or it was the kind of thing of like, it was a bit closed off, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You can understand why, because obviously they would want to be in control of the quality and whatnot, and I understand that now. But back then it was like, this is so there was this one guy who was in particular, I guess, kind of jealous, or well, he wanted in but couldn't have it, and I remember him telling that to me, or something at some point, and so he decided he would make a DC Brickfilm universe because there wasn't one of those, and then he got me on board and then added me into DM with BP, and that's where I first met him, and then I'll let him continue on from there.
Yeah, so I came into this DC Brickfilm universe or whatever. I'd done some voice acting for the guy organising it. He invited me in to do a film. I said yes. And
we're like not going to name him. Probably better. Isn't it? I mean, he's changed his name now. He's not even really in the community anyway.
Oh no, he's not Brickfilming. He's still in the Lego community, but
Yeah.
not the Brickfilm exclusively. And
Let's hope he doesn't listen to this.
And pretty much, I think me and James were among the first people to join, right? If I remember correctly.
Well, he just added us into a DM. I don't know who joined at what point. It was like 11 people, and he was just like, right, all of you doing this. And I guess the main thing was that there wasn't much leadership, and there wasn't much control or coherence, and BP can add on to that.
Yeah, this was in, I think it's the summer of 2015.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Me and James helped create the Instagram page to promote it, and we were pretty much organising that Instagram page ourselves, and let's just say the organizer wasn't doing a very good job at all.
Yeah, he kind of just wanted to make a universe to make a universe. I guess when you're not included in something like the MBU, your main goal really in creating something like he did would be to rival it, or like to create his own MBU rather than just to create it because he wants to do it. So that shows through.
Yeah, it's just continuity. Was all the shop was just adding people left, right, centre without establishing who was doing what. So James and I got involved in the organisational side of it until we were pretty much like doing more organisational work than him. Right?
Yeah.
And James actually made the film for it. I never finished mine.
Yeah, I got quite a lot of views for me at the time.
That was the first collaboration because I voice acted in that, and there was also a post-credit scene that was meant to tie into my film, which I never finished.
Was there?
And
Jeez.
and pretty much, even though we were the two like doing the most of the organisational work within this universe, the guy who created it was still adding people and assigning them films to do without informing us beforehand. So we decided to quit.
We said we had enough. We put our foot down, and then we walked out. We turned on him, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah. So we quit that, and we've been involved in a few community projects and collaborations before Brickfilm Day even. But yeah. That's
Well, it was like, the kind of thing of like, for some reason, I guess it was like I just saw BP as a very mature and someone who's not gonna like be lazy, because I could clearly see that from like my first encounter with him, that wasn't who he was. And so obviously there was that trust there, crazy stuff, and then it just went on and on and on. I can't remember when I would have done anything with him again, but I think it was was it the Lord of the Rings thing?
and well,
Surely not.
before that.
Oh,
we'd
it's
done,
finished
like,
the challenge videos, right? Wasn't it?
yeah. Even before that, I helped judge a contest. You, Harold, and
I had a contest.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and
Let's check it out.
did the Middle Earth Brickfilm page, Instagram page, come out
Oh, that was
before or after
also
the challenge
cute,
videos?
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I really dragged you into that mess, didn't I? That's the thing. I've dragged BP into every single project I've done. That's no joke. Every single thing. And he's always said yes. And now we're here. So...
It's surreal to think that this partnership originated from some guy just being angry that he couldn't get into the MDU.
yeah. Well, gotta be grateful for it, I guess. Yeah.
So what's the story about this Instagram page? The Middle Earth Instagram page. Sounds funny.
Oh, it's pretty much. Well, there were two, right? There's
There were
one. There's the Brickfilm one, where we just promoted Middle Earth.
You're talking about my
Brickfilms.
meme page.
Yeah.
How do you
made me an admin on that as
remember
well.
all this stuff? What the fuck? Yeah. Nah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
it was a dying community, and I was very sad about that. So I was like, we got to promote the Middle Earth stuff. We got to bring a revival to it. And there was also another page at the time, Brickfilm Reporter, and that was kind of cool. We were going to report on the brick filming news, and that felt like important. And what felt more important to me and more, I guess, sensitive or like personal to me was Middle Earth stuff, which was of course not really being covered or seen or anything. And there was really nobody making any, so it was a kind of a dead end idea, but we did it anyway, and BP did help out, I think.
yeah.
Actually, sort of related to like the Instagram like communities. Do you guys ever remember, like, I think it was like about like 3 years ago, there was this trend of like making like brick film versions of Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb and stuff on Instagram?
Innocuous reviews.
yeah.
I don't know.
We may-
I don't remember that, dude. I don't remember that.
we may or may not have accidentally kickstarted that trend.
Yeah, probably. See, that's the thing. We've been everywhere, Just kidding. In the Instagram community side of things, yeah. I don't know.
I guess the next big thing was the Middle Earth Brickfilm event. What year was that? It was
Yeah.
2017.
Well, that was because of the Middle Earth community thing. I think I was like, well, there's no stuff being put out, so I'm gonna make sure that people put things out. And then I did an event.
Yeah,
for Middle
December
Earth films.
2016. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was 2016, and BP got involved with that as well, and then that was the first thing we did, and then I did another project after that, which he also got involved in, and then after that, it was a bit bummed out. That was a bit of a dead end project. Wasn't too happy with it. Wasn't to last, and so we were like, hey, let's do more of the Middle Earth stuff. And then that's basically when Brick from Day got born.
Yeah.
Guess you can add to that because I also pulled him into that again.
Yeah. So just to clarify, this Middle Earth event is pretty much a precursor to like the smaller events we do on Brick from Day, where we do an event around a certain genre of brick film, and we just invite people to make a brick film of that genre, and then we, promote it in the playlist and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really the main precursor to Brick from Day. And we did say after doing that event we wanted to make it an annual thing, so then it wasn't as successful as we hoped, because how many people did we have on board at the start of it?
Oh, we had like 15, 20 people, and then by the time the actually event came around, there was only 6.
Yeah, so you decided to do it for all genres of brick films, right?
Yeah.
The following year.
Yeah, that was great. That was great fun. That was more successful as well.
So does that lead into the first Brick Film Day?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Pretty bad name.
Yeah.
everything's on the cuff, on the go. It wasn't like I was actually thinking about it. Or the logo. The logo was also done in like 20 minutes. Probably 10. Whatever. Could always change it, actually.
I think Brickfilm Day was probably way bigger than you like ever imagined it would be.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. You know, it's you don't really think about that or like how big something is going to be. It's kind of just like, let's focus on this right now in the moment. I mean, obviously, when we started doing it, because it's crazy to think that we've done 3 as well. But it's weird to think that like we went from 40 about people.
It was 56 the first one.
Oh shit! Sorry. All right, yeah, all right. VP clearly remembers stuff better than me. You know, to about, I guess it would be, how much more did we get? Because the second one was 100.
Yeah, if you include like the Brickfilms Guild festival results, that's 100.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first Brickfilm Day was 56 Brickfilms entered. So it's pretty much the same. We applied the same model we did with the Middle-earth event and just made it much bigger. Any Brickfilm goes, just upload at a certain time on this specific date any Brickfilm you like. We're put on the playlist, we promote it, and just try and make a big day out of it.
Fun.
Well, I mean, it's funny though, because like, in a large way, the podcast exists because of Brickfilm Day. I think I've told a story before, a few times before about how, because I did the timeline series for Brickfilm Day, and that kind of got me interested in making a podcast based on, like old Brick films and stuff. So in a way, you could say that guy not getting into the Marvel Brickfilm universe ended up creating one of Brickfilm's podcasts.
Let's see how far we can take this, because I'm also extremely grateful to Brickfilm Day, because I made the first history of Brickfilms video for Brickfilm Day 2018, and like I can't quite remember if I was thinking about maybe making a history video. Yeah, I think I did have the idea in mind to sort of take my work on the wiki and make a nice, more presentable video out of it, but I wasn't actively working on that. And then when you came along and asked if I wanted to make something for Brickfilm Day 2018, and I was kind of thinking like, I don't want to make a brick film, that's too much effort, but I could just make a quick history video, and then it would get in the playlist and it would get in front of the eyes of, a lot of people who wouldn't generally see my stuff, so like, I spread the history, the knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big reason why, I enjoy, doing Brickfilm Day events. It's just motivating people to make a brick film who, including myself, encourage them to make a brick film without procrastinating, and then hopefully get shown widely as wide as we can.
Yeah, but specifically, I mean, like, it gave me the motivation to make a video about brick films.
Yeah.
Wasn't a brick film, and now I've been continuing the series, and it's getting bigger.
I guess that was the nice thing about it, because also I was kind of like, well, I don't know, it's a bit weird, because I don't think a lot of people would, it would kind of seem like, why would someone want to do this, at least to me, because it wasn't the kind of thing like I was saying with like Brawl and Thack of like, you can make something in a certain time, and that's a lot of the fun of it. But I think as well, just the whole thing about Brickfilm Day being like, you can do whatever, how long, doesn't have to even be a brick film. And the incentive of being, well, promote it,
Wow.
Nobody knows what that means, but it sounds good. Because I will say that maybe the extent of our promotion goes as far as like how popular our page is, I guess, as well. So it's definitely gotten better over the years, but yeah.
I think it's why it works. Like, I feel like it could it did things like this. So it could so very easily just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make this just because I can be involved here. I'm not gonna bother watching anyone else, type of thing. But it wasn't that way. It felt like as soon as I uploaded I shared my part, like loads of people went up to see that, and then people went to see the other things, and it did seem as though people actually cared about the films that were actually being made, which was really nice.
I think it's like, as well, if people start watching one and then there's more and there's more to go on and on and on, I maybe there's something like overwhelming about like, like the BRAWL playlist of like suddenly there's 60 of them for me to watch or something like that. I don't know, I'm spitballing here. But because personally I've never really watched along just because I've always been promoting in the moment. but I don't know. Maybe it's just something of like being able to follow it as it comes and goes along, as opposed to like it's all there at once and it doesn't feel like. I think it's just the idea of like it feeling like an event and feeling like it's going on, and I think the same way as like feeling like it's something communal, like Brawl and Back, of like this is something that everyone else is getting in on right now. So here's me also following this. Yes.
Yeah, there's definitely a communal aspect to it. Like once you're involved, you feel a lot more invested in actually checking out what the other people have made. Because I know, like, I kind of, to be honest, I don't watch a lot of new Brick films that get made. I might intend to, I just don't get around to it. But if I enter a Brawl or Tack, then I'll always watch the full playlist. I just feel more motivation to.
I think it's one. It's like
that is true. Yeah.
Like the whole idea that like you get like eyeballs on your Brick film that you wouldn't usually get is quite. It's quite a funny feeling, I think, and you feel kind of like you want to make something that you feel proud of, because it's like the biggest advert to your channel.
Yeah.
I think that's the end of the topic. It's so funny how sometimes you can just reach an end somehow.
Actually, yeah, I sort of segue on to the next thing. Actually, I want to talk about your recent Brick film, Social Cues.
Oh yeah, let's talk about me.
Because just like absolutely brilliant. Like I feel like it's up there as like one of the best Brick films of 2020 so far.
Jeez. Well, I mean, yeah, not much to go up against, but thank you still very much all the same.
I agree. Yeah, it's one of the best I've seen this year so far.
Thanks, Penta. You did comment that, and I felt like a lot coming from you, no lie, because I even though you just said that you don't watch
I was
stuff.
Just thinking that I just said that I'm not watching as much as I should be.
But even then, just that you have seen a lot of stuff in general, and you kind of have, I guess, a general sense of quality and stuff. Because I don't really watch a lot nowadays. But when I was getting into it, I would watch endlessly amounts. So it's always nice to know that, like, and being compared to other people's work isn't always nice, but to know that it's something that I guess has be seen to have risen up comparatively in quality. That's always really nice, to be able to be compared to your peers who also do such amazing work as well, and to say that it's just as good, if not better. Now I sound like I'm bragging. I don't like talking about my work like this, but no, honestly, I'm very, very grateful. Thank you.
Yeah. I just feel like as well, I heard people, other people, I think like Trucker Brick commented saying that it felt as though it was like a recreation of an actual music video, the way it was shot and everything. Like it felt that good. But then he went over to check the actual video, and it actually is an original video, But yeah, it's just like, photography, the lighting, the special effects work you put into it, like everything is just on such a high level. And I don't know if I'm slightly biased in that I am also a big fan of KG Elephant as well. But yeah, no, it's just like on every level, it's just it's something that you can just keep rewatching and just like see new things about it,
That's really great to hear. I have no idea what you're talking about, because when I watch it, I don't feel anything. I just see the shots
that's
individually.
The difference.
Yeah. No, I'm being like weird and rude and like funny, haha. But like genuinely, thank you. I keep doing this with my thank you. Yeah. I would say actually, and that's one thing of why I'm so drawn to music videos as well. I enjoy working on them if the song I like is what I like it. I'm gonna be completely honest. I do not like Social Cues, the song. It wasn't even one of my favorites when I heard the record. It was just something that had like a really strong idea attached to it. And it was just like, well, that's gonna be a cool music video if I do that. So like, might as well. But I will say that I find people generally tend to like these, and music videos in this case, and I guess most things in general, they tend to like it more if there's something attached to it that is more identifiable and more recognizable. Like you can attribute that to like IP Brick films, and you can attribute it to anything. Like a lot of people have like a rough time getting into something original. They always need that like that pre-existing thing that they know they like to get them into it. And I, even with my other music video, I did like a commissioned work, and I was asking people, because I also did Joji, Slow Dancing in the Dark, Recreating Lego, and personally I think the commission work I did, which came after, I thought that was better technically in terms of many improvements. But a lot of people, everyone even told me, they said, yes, your commission work is better, but I prefer Joji. So I think that is that kind of thing of like people like what they, those preconceived things that they like, which just adds to it for them.
But I kind of approached it from like the opposite perspective because I'd never listened to Cage the Elephant before. So I just watched it as just a brick film basically. And, I was really impressed by how the video, how it had this concept going through it. And it really, worked with the song. But, of course, it didn't fall into the brick film trap of just showing exactly what the words are saying.
I just think as well, like, because I watched your behind-the-scenes video where you talked a little bit about, like, the process, like pre-production and stuff, and you actually put in a decent amount of like research into like mental illness and like music, like musicians and mental illness and stuff, which it's the kind of like effort that I don't think I've seen like brick films do very very often. So that was really cool to hear.
Well, it wasn't that extensive. Yeah. I just kind of glossed over it because I wanted to look cool. It was the kind of thing of like I read a few articles over a couple of days, and I think more than anything it's just kind of being interested in the topic. If you're not interested in the topic and you don't want to learn about it yourself, I feel like you kind of have to fall in love with what you're kind of wanting to represent. Because at least for me, when I'm making something like a music video or something with like a general theme or something, if it isn't like a personal experience which I'm putting on there, then it's probably going to then be something that I need to research. And if I need to research it, I need to be interested in it, because otherwise it's just not going to pop or not going to be interesting. It's going to be the most surface level thing. And I will say that with this music video, it was the most surface level thing. I was very much approaching the kind of stuff that you would see in something like Bohemian Rhapsody, by the numbers biopic. What happens to rock stars? The classic rock star tragedy. That's really what I was doing. But I guess that is why, more than anything, that's why I was researching to find stuff like that.
I think as well, it's like there's only a certain level of this kind of like sort of topic that you can really kind of portray in a music video without like the dialogue or whatever. And I think you did as much as you could with like the material. I think you told it really well, like in that respect.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think another thing impressive about it is it's told really well, but it also feels like a music video. With the quick cutting and the camera's moving a lot. It doesn't just feel like a brick film telling a story and it's just set to music, with no sound design or anything. It feels like both a music video and a narrative-based film.
I'm really glad to hear that. I did not know that. It felt like that. I'm really glad. Yeah, no, I mean, that's really cool. I mean, I can't really explain it myself, but for me, I mainly, I envision the music video in my mind for months and months and months before I do it. And I've had some music videos in my head from as far back as July 2017, and I'm still trying to get made. So it really is that thing of like I visualize it to farthest extent I can before actually making it, which I think also helps, because when I'm making like an original film with a script, it's very much like I'm gonna figure everything out in the moment, in the frame. I rarely storyboard, but with the music video, I think it's important to kind of, because you have to stick to a certain time, and you also want it to feel like, just listening to the rhythm of the music, because like if you're not doing that, what's the point of making a music video? You know what I mean?
I think as well, like I mentioned, I commented like a couple of weeks ago about the whip pans that you use, where you have like a...
I didn't know what those were!
The funny thing is that I didn't actually know what they were myself until I looked it up, because I actually used a couple in my BRAWL entry, and I kind of knew them from before because they used a lot in like comedies and stuff, and I was like, I want to do something like that, a cool transition, and I didn't know the actual technical term, so I looked it up, and I found out it was called a whip pan, and it's used a lot in like Edgar Wright films and that kind of thing. And then I was rewatching Social Cues because I loved it that much, and I wanted to rewatch it. And
yay!
and as I was rewatching it, I was like, damn, that's a whip pan. and then I saw it again. I was like, oh wait, and there's another one. And I was like, this is actually like the perfect example of a whip pan in brick films. It's like I don't really see that often, and you did it. You really did that really well, I think.
Thank you. I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
The first one was planned because of the line. I don't have the strength to play nice. Like he says it like nice. And I was like, that's good. That's quick. That's quick, man. It's got to go quick. The camera's got to like go over quick.
Yeah.
And then the second one was an improvisation because I miscalculated the amount of shots and time I had to do that scene. So I needed to move things along quicker. So I just did that. And I gotta say, it's pretty helpful for making the camera go fast. Not gonna lie. It goes from there to there. Wow.
Yeah, I love doing quick camera movements rather than slow camera movements.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
much easier to make a
yes.
slow camera movement look all shaky and bad.
That is also true, yeah. It's much more... Just anything in Brickfilm, anything small and minuscule is horrible. That's why I can't understand people who do 24 FPS, because that just seems like the whole deal.
Yeah, a thing that really stood out about your video to me was the scene transitions, including those whip bands and everything. Just the way it all the scenes flew together, you know, as a coherent piece.
I'm very happy to hear this. That one shot of like the I don't know what you call it, but like when it went around him and then transitioned to the other thing, that took me like 4 days. And that's like the longest, you know, like I've rarely had that to where I'm working on something for so long, but it feels really rewarding, you know, to yeah, I mean that's all I can say on it. It's strange how rewarding it can be yet painful.
You know, this is like a really weird kind of thing to say, but it's sort of like the ultimate compliment that I didn't think about that part of the video. You know how if you see something being done and it seems difficult and you're like, oh yeah, I bet that was hard to do. I bet it took them a long time or whatever. But when I was watching the video, I was just watching it. Like I was just engrossed in, you know, just watching it. So it's like you put in all that time and I didn't notice it, but that's the highest compliment, if that makes sense.
It does. Thank you so much. That is actually really nice. Yeah, I think as well with like visual effects, that kind of thing of like, if someone doesn't notice a visual effect, you've done your job well. Do you know what I mean? Rather than like just all that.
Oh yeah, it's like
It's the
they
same
say,
thing.
isn't it? Like good editing is the editing you don't notice. You know? If you can pull that off with the amount of special effects that work you did, then clearly you're doing something right. And you know, I think that's like the thing with and not to kind of like point a finger at any like particular brick film or anything, but I feel like there's a lot of brick films even today where they use a lot of special effects, and I just kind of feel like this is just so jarring, and you know, it just really takes you out of it because you notice all of this stuff that's just been added in. But like if you're able to kind of like add all these effects and you know it just blends in, then clearly you've done something right, you know.
I do think the community learnt a lot from the likes of Final Feature. Cheap shot there. I don't know how familiar you guys are with that lad.
Oh, very familiar.
He's a professional VFX artist now. I'm pretty sure.
All the more power to him. It
Yeah,
wasn't
but
like he
that's
was
actually great to
terrible.
hear, to be honest.
Yeah, it did not compliment his brick films whatsoever. You know, poor guy.
Oh, you're talking about the Jurassic World brick film. Oh god.
Yeah.
See, he knows it. William knows it.
Let's just say some of the face animation doesn't look too great.
Yeah, Snapchat filter moment.
Yeah, god.
Uh-oh.
Like when they came out, that one and the Doctor Who one as well. It was like when I was like new to the community, and I just saw that, and for some reason I thought it was good, and there's like these really cringy like comments of me going like, "Wow, this is amazing! I've never seen this sort of style of animation done before."
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do think that it's, you know, there's certain quality about it that, you know, in amateur terms, it's really good. But it's also like, what the hell is going on? This is like a crime against humanity.
It kind of got to the point where the VFX was, rather than complementing the stop motion animation, it was sort of overshadowing it to a very large degree. So it does make sense he chose to go into the VFX rather than, you know.
Yeah. To make it positive, I guess to kind of put a positive spin on it, he did actually upload like an animated video which was not brick film related. Like in like 2017,
Oh, I remember this
And it was
now,
actually
yeah.
quite good. Like it, you know.
Yeah, his most recent upload was actually surprisingly
Yeah.
great. A CG animation.
But yeah, I guess another thing I wanted to talk about. Have you guys seen Sanjira's new brick film?
Yep.
Yes.
I know James
Ooh.
really loves this one.
Genuinely, I loved it. I never. Here's like how you can tell that I love something like a brick film. If I send it to my in real life friends, I don't even send my in real life friends my stuff, you know. But I've done it very rare times. I think I've sent them a Panzer hat video, and I think I've sent them an Edbound video, and then of course I had to send them this. It was amazing. It was next level stuff, man.
Had he actually managed to release it to BRAWL, there's like no doubt that it would have been.
If it
you know,
didn't win, I would have like raged, man. Like I
mean, yeah, you wouldn't be in the top 3, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be against that at all. This is a masterpiece. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I'm like a fanboy with this.
Yeah, sometimes you see something, you're like, I'd be happy to lose to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No hard feelings. It's honestly amazing.
Yeah, I know he went over the deadline, but even within 8 days, it's mind-boggling how good it is.
Yeah.
I guess even then, like, not even just like, as it is, like the voice acting and the story and all of that, like I can't tell you, and just like the inherent ideas, like I rarely, like, even with anything like comedy, I never like laugh out loud or like actually like make noises, not really. Like I guess I'll chuckle like ha 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 ha, but like this was like I was freaking out, when it got towards the end. It was insane to me. Like it was such a shock value thing, and that's just looking at its inherent like stuff, like the story and everything, not even just the technical achievements, which are also incredible.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like the multi-plane use in a brick film.
It's insane. I love how he makes use of different layers as well, it looks like. At least I assume, yeah.
It kind of, I can see why it's done well on Newgrounds, because it has a very, very, very like Newgrounds appeal to it. Like I feel like you don't have to like Brickfilms to like it.
Yeah.
It's
I think that might also be the appeal of why I thought that, I guess, because it kind of does ascend the medium, I guess, because I will say that there is kind of there's a stigma attached, or like just a general kind of expectation with a lot of, I guess, brick films and Lego stop motions, but this by all means exceeds it. I don't know, it doesn't feel, it kind of feels like it's its own thing completely, like he's invented something new. I don't know how to explain it, even though it's still Lego stop motion.
Well, yeah, the whole animation style is completely different from your average brick film. That's so, and it just complements the story and the comedy so well.
We stand so hard.
And I think it's a good thing that he started it for BRAWL, at least, because the way people always say that like limitations can make your film better. You have to come up with good ideas. So like he had to try to keep the film so that it wouldn't get disqualified from BRAWL. He had to come up with inventive ideas to portray certain things, and I think it made the film a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure of how the theme of preservation comes into it. Maybe you guys could help me out on that. I'm a little lost. Yeah, I don't know.
I guess that the husband wants to preserve his marriage.
It starts out with him trying to find his dog, so I guess he's trying to preserve his
ownership of the dog. Yeah, Piko. I love the voice acting so much.
The voice acting is amazing.
And also, I guess, just to get back to BRAWL as well, I don't even know why I said that. Get back to BRAWL. What are we talking about, BRAWL? There's a lot of really great voice acting in this year's BRAWL, and I think especially in Tukabrik's entry, I was laughing out loud at some of the line delivery. It was really great.
Yeah, the voice acting was particularly good this year, I think. So
I was actually surprised. There was kind of a decent number of entries that had a lot of talking. I felt like
Yeah.
going through the playlists at some points was kind of like, oh, they're still talking. You know.
This is where we came out on top, BP. Look at that.
Well, I didn't want to spend another BRAWL just animating one guy sat in a chair talking like I did last year. So.
Yeah.
Actually, I just thought of something I did want to ask. I wonder if you could flesh out some of the backstory behind Josiah versus Tasty. Instagram stuff has always been a blind spot to me, but I found out about that and I've enjoyed some of the memes and stuff.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. Tasty Cupcake Productions made this video, Tasty versus Josiah versus Tasty. Josiah being another brick filmer. It's just the sig figs fighting, if I remember correctly, and it just became a meme for various reasons within the Instagram sub community. First of all, like, how long is the video?
It was originally like 2.5 minutes. I think now it's like 40 seconds. I don't know if you can explain that story.
Yeah, so it only contained about 40 seconds of animation, except the credits went on for like another 1 to 2 minutes. Just
it was like 2 minutes of credits.
Classic.
Yeah. It wasn't anything to credit either. It was so weird.
Except he got called out for that in the comments, so he decided to trim that out on YouTube Editor. But yeah. And of course you've got the infamous die line. Yeah.
Well, I think it was with Tasty in general, you kind of have to know the context of who he was in that. He was always hyping up stuff and putting out or saying he was going to do something, and then he always cancelled, and he was always hyping up his stuff, and he was just really focused on making animation look good, or I don't know, you know. He never actually finished anything. As time went on, he became more and more of a meme, and that's the story of that, you know. And I think that kind of film is like the one thing that everyone kind of remembers who he was by. It's the last thing we have, because he really didn't release anything, and a lot of the stuff he did release he ended up deleting.
Yeah, so. I'm one of those things where you had to, you know,
you had to be there, bro. You don't understand.
It's like become like an in-joke of sorts.
Where is the original video? Why is it so hard to find? Oh, prologue. It's the prologue, because of course he was gonna make one. He did so many iterations. I love, if I can recommend, once you watch that, when you do, I really recommend Jonathan Theater's video. It just completely sums up, like, it probably won't be funny to you, but it really sums up like the 2016-2017 like community on Instagram, and it's, I don't know, and in general it's a really good film.
I find it kind of funny how a lot of this stuff kind of repeats itself, because like the fact that the Jonathan Theaters video starts with a like Star Wars crawl summing up this totally random minor like drama or meme, and I've got this video from like early 2003 that is the same thing. It's like Star Wars crawl summing up some controversy on the Brickfilms forums at the time.
That's quite funny. Yeah. Every community runs its course of, I guess, I don't know, whatever. Shame.
Mm-hmm.
R.I.P. I will say that I've kind of distanced myself from all communities, and people always talk about it, though, that there really is kind of a segregation in terms of communities. There's like sub communities. There's no general brick filming community that is like integrated or one where you can find everyone, and I feel like everyone's kind of competing to do that. I think that Bricks in Motion is definitely the closest there is in terms of a website, but even then there's all these other things that kind of try to get that spot, which then segregates it and just divides everyone. And I don't know, it's really sad, I think, but I don't know, maybe that's just how it'll be. And I think it's also good and healthy in some ways, maybe even then, because like you were saying, there are a lot of toxic people, and it's better to exclude them from where you want to vibe.
I also think there is a sort of charm to certain kind of like memes belonging to a certain like community, like a certain like part of the community. Like, you know, you've got your kind of like just surface tasty, like that thing which only really makes sense to like the Instagram community, but like I think we have
Bricks in Motion has Anne Frank and Bricks.
Yeah, like we have things which like make no sense to everybody else, and also like
Yeah, we don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, also like I guess
I
there's the whole Citizen of the Year again. It's sort of something that
With the parrot in the bin that keeps cropping
Yeah.
up. Is that related?
Yeah. I need to watch Citizen of the Year after this. Like I've never seen it, and I don't know if that's like a crime against humanity. Oh, I keep saying that. If it's a crime to have not seen that, I shouldn't say crime
It
against
is.
humanity. Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, crime against the Brit film community rather. But when did you start actually? Not to get all interviewer on interviewee or whatever, but
Early to mid 07.
oh, you're not that old. I'm joking. No. I think the fact that you know so much and so far back in the community and just, you know, it feels like you have been around forever just with your endless amount of knowledge in everything. Not that I mean that as an insult, but, you know, your age does elude people.
I do kind of think as well, like for me, I kind of feel like I'm forever gonna feel like young within the community, like in the opposite way. Like even though like 5 years isn't nothing, but it still feels like in the grand scheme of things, it feels like, you know, it does feel like nothing.
But I think everyone feels that when they first join.
Yeah,
Like, you know, when I first joined Brickfilms.com, you know, I felt like I was super young compared to people like Nathan Wells and Mind Game.
How old are they?
And now I'm kind of like,
Are they like much older than you?
well, I mean, they'd been around longer. They were making really good films already,
I see.
you know?
Yeah, okay.
But now I feel like I'm like, have come to be viewed as like a contemporary in terms of like being around that long, you know? Even though when I joined, I felt like they'd already been around and accomplished loads.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess a lot of people's reputations also depends on view count and how that doesn't really make up a good brick film, but it certainly defines a brick filmer in terms of just how much exposure they have in at least in the community.
Yeah.
Because I think most people, you know, everyone knows Forrest, even though he's not that necessarily involved. It doesn't really feel like a lot of people know Sean Willits. I don't know if you guys know him as Filmy Guy. I don't know if that's like
Of course.
okay. I mean, I'm not saying that if you know that name, I just wonder if that's how you better identify or remember him or whatever. Not to say he's not around. Oh my gosh, I don't know. But I'm just saying that, you know, Mind Game is definitely one out of the, you know, the people who are still kind of involved in the community that everyone kind of knows across all communities of brick filming.
Yeah.
All the sub communities, I mean. So it's
He's
interesting.
one who's always been around and always been visible.
And it's great to see that he's still involved. I mean, I swear, wasn't he talking in like the BRAWL results as well? Wasn't he there?
yeah.
In the call, yeah.
It's great. It's so nice.
Yeah, no, of
And he was
course.
like voiced in, you know, quite a few as well.
Oh yeah, true. Oh, yeah, he voiced in yours, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the main character in that.
Yeah.
No, it does generally feel like in the brick filming kind of context, it's almost like having some sort of Hollywood star, you know. That's how I sort of look at it, you know. It's like a huge thing to have like Zach Macias is in my film, you know. Big selling point.
Yeah, I will say as well though, not to then put this in a negative light, but it's really weird growing up and remaining in the community to where a lot of the people who I viewed as like giants, like Mind Game, like Forrest, like Michael Hickox, and just all the, I guess the big dogs, if you could put it like that. Now that I've grown up, they're just regular people, but like it was an insane thing to me. Like they felt like celebrities, you know.
Yeah.
Now it just kind of feels like, well, that's an accomplished brick film, I guess, if you could look at it like that. It's just weird how like my outlook's changed, and it's a bit sad. I don't know. I would imagine that it would be nice, and maybe some younger people still think that if they are still as relevant. I don't know. I don't know who's who in the zoo nowadays, even.
I think
all
it's.
these
I mean,
kids'
I
channels
still
as
think
well.
of them as being kind of like big deals, you know. But like,
Well,
it's kind
yeah,
of funny.
me too.
At the same time, I kind of think of them as like really good friends as well. You know, just like it's. I always find it kind of funny, like these people that I really admire. And it's like, you know, just chatting to them every day on Discord. It's just, it's quite surreal.
Yeah, I mean, I literally, well, in some senses, I grew up watching Mind Game's brick films, you know, and it was a big inspiration for me when I first getting into brick filming. and I recently collaborated with him, which was a bit surreal. And
what did you collaborate with him on?
The Star Wars.
He did that?
Big. Yeah, he contributed. He only did one shot, but it counts.
Yeah, you kind of lose track of all the people involved in that. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, there were a lot.
Actually, we should talk about the Star Wars collab.
Yeah, that's something VP can talk about. I have nothing to add to that. I was not involved. But very impressive.
I guess the genesis of that came back in 2018. We did something very similar for the Marvel films, and I always had the idea of redoing it, but for Star Wars in the back of my head for a couple of years. Just waiting for episode 9 to come out, really. But yeah, I guess it's. sorry, I'm just.
What's wrong, VP?
It just. I don't know. I'm lost for words. I don't know. So.
Well, it was really good.
Yes.
I don't know if that's all you're gonna say. It was really good, VP. Great stuff.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Wow, this thing has 500,000 views. That's crazy.
Yeah.
This has got like Grimson level views.
Yeah, it was quite surreal when Mark Hamill and Ryan Johnson shared it on Twitter, and
nice.
Yeah, also just seeing the great response when we put it up. I think we got 169 viewers concurrently during the live premiere, which is quite a lot in terms of Brickfilm numbers, I guess. It's just a fun communal event, just we had loads of people in our Discord server watching it along with us, and especially since we've been working on it for like 6 months, so it's nice that it had a great reception.
It's surreal how many community projects have come out just this year alone.
Yeah, of course, you had quarantine days as well.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that there's been a big rise in the last couple of years. People have kind of been aware that they can succeed and not fall flat on their face. It can happen once in a blue moon, and just more of them have come on. And I think it's really nice to see with stuff like Brickfilm Day, and just such a big, such a large scale. It's been one of the real positive things about this lockdown period. It's I can look back at this now and actually think quite positively. I've enjoyed quarantine most of it, mostly just because stuff has been going on.
Obviously, lockdown's a really bad thing in general,
no
but I will say it was helpful with the Star Wars project. People who initially couldn't work on it said he had a lot more free time on their hands, so offered to help. And I think the numbers of people on board doubled within the last 2 months of the project.
And actually, I don't know if you'd have anything to say really, because this might just come down to personality in general, but I wonder if you'd have any insight to offer or any advice as to how to sort of see a large project that involves many people through to completion.
Well, I learned a lot of stuff on the Marvel attempt at this big retrospective video. I guess something like the Star Wars project is quite easy to collaborate on, since it's clearly broken down into separate sections, plus it's a recreation, so there's less directorial notes in terms of what needs to be achieved in every scene. And also a big thing motivating people to meet their deadlines was releasing trailers for the event that really brought more animators on board in terms of their interest in participating. And also, it's nice seeing your work alongside everyone else's, even in a small minute video. That really motivated.
Inclusion, exclusivity.
Yeah.
Works every time. Kill me.
How many people are actually involved in it overall? Because I kind of imagine that you probably had a few people for each film. As in each part of the,
Yeah.
You're doing the 9 films.
I mean, yeah, I've lost count of how many people were on board altogether.
It was
34 animators.
Yeah.
I'm just looking up now. But we started pretty much as one animator per film, with the exception of Last Jedi, which was a collaboration between Dude Rick and Joba from the start, and also we were struggling to find people to do The Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker. So, well, The Rise of Skywalker was always intended to be like a big collaboration where we all contributed a few shots towards it. But yeah, The Force Awakens, I just struggled to find someone to do it, so it just ended up, I don't know how many, like 12 Brickfilmers just each did little shots, just depending on what like minifigures and, you know, Star Wars sets they had. So
So was this was already in production before Rise of Skywalker came out, wasn't it?
yes, well, the initial idea was
It's gonna come out. Right, it's kind of...
So what did you think? Was there any effect on the Brickfilm project?
Definitely had an effect on the reception. You look in the comments, everyone's just dissing the sequels, bro. I loved it until the sequels came on. The sequel recreation better than the actual movie.
well, the original idea with the project was, with the Marvel project, we ended it with a teaser trailer for Infinity War, and we were kind of gonna do the same with this video. We were gonna release it as the Rise of Skywalker came out, and, you know, with just like a minute teaser for the Rise of Skywalker, except we thought there'd been a few delays and we just wanted to make it really polished, and people looking back on it after Rise of Skywalker comes out, it would just feel incomplete, you know, if we didn't include the film in its full length, if that makes sense.
It sure does, BP.
One more thing before we start talking about the Brawl entries. What's next? Any other projects on the cards?
Well, actually this week we're starting our contest, and our annual animation contest, which is focused purely on animation, you know, pretty much just a series of animation challenges and tests. As you know, Punter, you're a judge. But other than that, the next project after that, hopefully it's going to be another Finish the Story Brick film, which we actually started months ago, but it kind of got pushed back as more events took priority.
Very sad.
Yes. Half of it's animated, we just haven't touched in a while for various reasons, but yeah.
It's looking to be banging.
Well, yeah, William, you actually animated part of that.
Oh, what? Yeah, the Halloween
Right, cool.
special. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how long ago it was when we started, but it'll get done at some point.
I'm actually really pleased with my part. Like, I think it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's just coming, I promise, but it's just been pushed back by more events that took priority that we've announced a certain deadline for, which we put all the focus on, but, you know, that's that.
Yeah, that makes sense though. I mean, totally. I mean, like, I think the fact that you kind of went past the Halloween sort of period kind of like takes away the motivation to kind of like finish it, because it's like it's been and gone, you know, like.
Yeah,
Coming up again.
yeah.
Oh, that's really sad.
That's what we're hoping for, a Halloween release, you know. Another aspect is it kind of wraps up all the stories in one, in some senses. And, you know, Halloween marks 2 years since the first one, so I think that, you know, that's what we're aiming for.
Release it into the Bricks and Martian Summer Contest.
Oh yeah,
That's not a bad
actually,
idea.
that actually would be a really good
Split
idea.
that prize 10 ways.
Because that would mean
No, don't! I'm really scared. I think it would have a really good chance. I don't know. I suppose you could always pass the prize. Actually, no. Yeah, that would actually be really.
Yeah,
cheap,
you'd probably just select to
I
pass on
mean,
the prize if you
you
actually
can,
won.
Yeah,
you can,
I don't think
you
we
can
should
give
take
me
the prize.
the dragon frame if you want. I mean, I don't mind.
Dragon
I don't know.
frame.
I still use the old software that I used when I was 14.
Well, then you should get working on the summer contest entry.
Yeah, dude, get working the summer
Just
contest.
Pray that everyone who ranks above you already has Dragon Frame.
Yeah, I want to do it for brick stuff. I have an idea, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's this brick film I'm working on at the moment, which fits the theme perfectly. The only trouble is the story lasts 20 seconds. It's very much just that. Although, I suppose I could do a Tasty Cupcake Productions and just extend the credits out to a minute to meet the qualifications, but yeah.
Penta's silently judging you as a judge.
I'm actually serious though. Like, if you wanted to finish the story for the Bricks and Motion contest,
Do it.
that would probably be allowed.
I think
You know?
it would be pretty epic, VP.
You know,
But
I
that
have
is
considered
quite
doing
the
it.
ambitious task to do that in the next month and a half.
I mean, how much is there left to do? Like, is there a substantial amount?
Wow. Part of the
It
reason why we
depends on how
paused
much you want
production.
people to.
Yeah.
You know, it really is up to you.
Part of the reason why we paused production was I wanted to go back and re-edit and reshoot some stuff just to make it a little bit more coherent towards the start.
That's
and also,
ruining the fun, VP.
only slight tweaks, but yeah, I do like where the story is headed now. The last segment was done by Jonathan Theatres, and I'm really excited about where that takes the story. But yeah,
VP. You've been saying that for like the last year almost.
yeah, I know. It
I'm
will
really
get
excited
done.
to see where it goes. Where is it going, VP?
I don't. You meant to do the next segment.
I can do
except
it
you-
right now. You want me to do it? I'll do it.
Exposed.
I'll do it. Hey, don't come at me, bro. I'll muck you up.
Yeah.
So what we are now experiencing is the behind-the-scenes story of Finish the Story.
Ah, funny. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, make an entry to the contest that's called Finish the Story. It's the true horror story behind Finish the Story.
I've considered doing a Finish the Story film for BRAWL and just having
Yeah, you should do
one
that.
person do it a day.
You should do that, VP. Do it.
Maybe next year, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's time that we move over to talking about the BRAWL entries.
Yeah.
Hello, this is William from the future. Before we continue on to the top 10 of BRAWL, I want to give a brief shout out to Willow Tree, Chazin, Infinity Pine Studios, Pinar Kalito, and Joko for placing within the top 15. You all did a brilliant job with your entries as well. We're only doing the top 10 in the podcast just because of, for time purposes. But I do want to still congratulate you for the work that you guys did as well. So by the time that this podcast is released, I hope to have commented on all your videos as well. And for everyone else listening to the podcast, I do really recommend that you check those films out as well. The link will be in the description. And without further ado, let's head over to the top 10.
The 10th place entry is The Last Old Adventure by Crested Screamer Studios.
We stand.
This one was kind of interesting because, like, the first time I watched it, I was, to be honest, kind of bored. But then it turns out that was, like, kind of the point.
Yeah.
And when I watched it again, I liked it more. It made sense.
You see, it's supposed to be bad, not really.
I didn't know we were ragging on these.
No, don't worry. That was a joke. No, I actually really like this one. I quite like the narration kind of story of it, and I think he has quite a cool voice as well, the narrator. Sounds a bit like Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, he does have a really nice voice. I loved listening to him. That does actually add to the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing I really liked was, it's got quite a touching message towards the end, which, like you said, Punter, is like a bit, you don't know where it's going except the ending wraps it up nicely and, gives greater context to the rest of it.
Yeah, I was surprised by how it put the earlier parts in a different context, yeah.
I do like the lighting. The lighting, it is good. I mean, it's pretty simple, but I think it works,
Oh, and of course, got to give props for multiple sets for BRAWL.
Yeah, that's always a really impressive thing. I also, towards the middle section of the film, I really love the silhouettes. Like, you've got that kind of yellowish background, and they're completely silhouetted. It's just really nice, like, cinematography, colours and everything. Just a really kind of warm, sort of soft feel.
Yeah,
to
especially
the whole thing.
towards, it increases as the film goes on, which is also interesting. Silhouettes, like, become way more extreme, Hey, what's happening here? Why can I see everything in the beginning? Now all I can see is the outlines. I'm going off the deep end in conversation here. Don't listen to me.
Let's move on to the next film.
Yeah. So we got The Perfect Pancake by Gentle Knight Animations. But like right off the bat, it's like it's the animation, the production values, and everything. It's really kind of it's just really good. Like everything is so slick, and really well polished. Like and this is the type of thing. Like this is the standard now. Like BRAWL entries, like it's well not actually the standard, but this is like what we've come to expect from like the higher quality BRAWL entries, and it's just it's just such a high quality.
Yeah, this film very much feels as though it executes the simple concept, but to really high level quality. I think the character dynamic between the two housemates is really well written, and I think
classic Brickfilms.
Dynamic duo.
I think the animation style really complements like the tone and story as well.
The dialogue is like particularly well animated. If you look at it muted, which I'm doing right now because
same.
we're talking, I'm like, hey, they're moving around a lot. Why are they moving around? And then I put on some sound, like, oh, they're moving around because they're moving to the sounds of how they talk, and it actually looks really good. And I didn't notice that when I was watching it because, like we were saying earlier, when something's well done, you don't notice it. At least that's me right now. Stuff.
One of the things I really like, one of the small details, is when he's sniffing the pancakes. Like that animation is really good. I think it's like around the middle point of the film. I just like little details like that. I do kind of feel though, like by the time that he would have got to eat the pancakes, they'd be really gross. They wouldn't be the best pancakes. But that's a small nitpick, I'd say. So yeah, should we head over to number 8?
Yes.
Okay.
Plastic by Joshua Nelson. And yeah, I'm really glad to see this place high because I actually really, really enjoyed this one. Just like, it's so kind of like colourful. And I feel like it's like Joshua Nelson has a specific style. You can kind of tell straight away when you're watching a Joshua Nelson film, and I feel like he's really grown a lot over the last couple of years. And I think like the animation I actually really like as well, and just the colours, like it's such a colourful film. And I mean, the song, it goes really well with the song as well.
Yeah, and Joshua Nelson always does stuff that's very conceptually strong with the story. But this is another one I had to watch twice because the first time I watched it, I was like, I really enjoyed that. But did I really enjoy it just because I really liked the song? Because, who doesn't love Plastic Love? But then I watched it again and I was like, okay, yeah, there's stuff going on in the film as well.
Very, very cute as well. Just inherently the use of the Plastic Love song. I mean, it's obvious, but like, hey, that's cute. I like it.
Yeah, and I love the integration of like Lego as a concept into like the story concept. There's a structure with them swapping body parts and everything.
Yeah, I will say it's a huge vibe. It is really like I'm all for it. I'm here, and I'm having a great time, especially with the music. The songs for music videos are great tone setters and letting you know how to really structure something like this. And I think he does execute it very well. It's much fun.
Yeah, I feel like it has a lot of rewatch value. This, I've watched it a few times already. Yeah, I really like it. Should we head over to
number 7?
Yeah. Joey McJonathan has an epiphany.
I'm a big fan of this one.
Spudson. Yeah, very like I guess conceptual, very serious kind of brick film. I like anything like this where it has like it's actually in water. I think that's always really cool. Yeah, I think it's a really good story.
Yeah, I really like the use of surreal-esque imagery, to convey his inner thoughts, and I like the metaphor of him sinking. And like you said, the water animation's done really well. If I were to say one thing though, I struggled understanding the narration at some points, just because of the audio levels. But other than that, I really enjoyed this one.
The imagery was definitely one of the strongest things about it. I can't lie. I really just even though that we see that shot of the figure in the water so often, I just love it. Like every single time it's on screen, and I know there are alterations to it, every time, but it's so good. Oh my gosh. Yeah. What's that? His cinematography as well in Spudson, and I love his style. It's very much focused on, I guess, concept and visual elements. His colors as well. His films really pop.
Yeah, I must say, I've seen this frame now, and he's like, sinking. He's got like the purple background, and he's wearing like red, and there's just so much like color, isn't there, like to it?
Yeah.
I think there's actually a lot of colorful brick films actually in this. Well, actually.
I think he does really well in this film compared to like some of the other colourful entries. He really makes the colours pop more, and stand out.
Yeah, his
Like-
last few,
like-
they do seem a little... Like here, they're very vibrant, and it works pretty well. I don't know, it feels very...
Yeah, just to go
angelic.
back.
I don't know if that's
Yeah.
how I would describe it, but especially with the narration, like I also really liked the writing. I didn't get a lot of it, but the writing, it seemed smart, and I liked it how it sounded. I really liked that opening shot he does. I swear that was something he took that from that one Thack entry. I can't remember what it. I don't know if it was a Thack entry. It's a brick. He took it from a brick film, I swear.
Yeah,
did that,
there was
if
actually-
you guys
I think it
recognize
was-
that.
Oh, is it the?
I feel like it could have been BRAWL 2019. There was like one of the ones that got to like, I'm sure it was like 4th or 3rd place or something.
It was very
Like,
short. It
one
was
of
like
the-
45 seconds or something.
Was it
Yeah.
the one where he falls into the trash bin?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but yeah.
I think I know. I can look for it.
Oh,
Yeah,
garbage.
Garbage. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
See, we all know stuff. I know this because of Brickfilm highlights. Brickfilm Day.
Yeah.
Thanks, PP.
Yeah, you are right. I'm just comparing that now to the shot in garbage, and yeah, I'd be surprised if he wasn't at least unconsciously inspired by
Yeah,
this.
It's
that did
very
come to
much
mind
the
when
same.
I first saw it. So
Should we head over to 6th
Yeah,
place?
now you can move on. Yeah.
Yeah, so Preservation by Smithy of Films. And I remember like I saw thumbnails of this when he was animating it on Discord, and I was really like pumped to see it. It looks like really good. And yeah, it just doesn't disappoint. It's really, really great set design, and yeah, again, like visuals and everything. It's really cool.
I think it's strongest in its visuals, without a doubt.
there's some really nice lighting
Yeah,
and
but
shot composition as well.
it's a fantastic use of the screen as the background rather than green screen,
It feels very organic and natural.
Yeah,
and it casts the actual light from the
Yes.
pictures onto the set.
Which is wonderful.
So that's something that everyone should keep it in mind. Might be
Ah,
useful
wow,
making
he actually
your own
uses a
Brickfilms.
screen, like a computer screen. Ah,
Yeah, the backgrounds are pictures on a screen.
Nice.
In the frame.
I actually
yeah.
might start doing that because I hate doing green screen. Like, I just can't do it. I just like it's one of those kind of things like
It seems much
like
easier as
more
well.
and more over the years. I've relied more on practical effects. And a lot of people like think, oh, that's really good and everything. Mostly it's just because I just can't for the life of me be bothered to learn like this stuff. But yeah, no, that's actually a really cool technique, and it works really well. Like, there's no like, you kind of get this like impression that if you used a computer screen that you would, I don't know, you would be able to tell like they'd be like flickering or something, but no, it works really well. I had actually no idea. But yeah.
yeah. I used that technique briefly in the Styles collaboration. I was surprised at how well it worked, and I didn't even know that this was what he used here. But I mean, it makes sense. It looks really clean and polished. And from a story perspective as well, I just like the way he blended, ancient and futuristic technologies,
Yeah, and I feel like that was a good use of the theme as well. But yeah, I feel like number 5. I think we should let you take that one away. With
Yeah.
you.
Okay. It's a Duke TV by this guy called I think it's Lotwar Studios. I don't know
not
how you pronounce
laughing.
that.
Lord of the Wings, I
Yeah.
believe.
So yeah, Luke TV. I was just really kind of determined that I was going to do something kind of completely different to what I'd done before, like especially in terms of like BRAWL, because I'd done these kind of like silence, kind of brick films like Orchestral Palette last year, and I was kind of thinking, yeah, I'm going to do the exact opposite. I'm going to do like a comedy that's sort of dialogue heavy and that kind of stuff, and it was just I just want to do something completely different. Yeah, it's funny. Like the first, like I gotta be honest. Like when I started coming up with the idea, I didn't feel hugely that inspired. But then I kind of like, I really did feel like it was going to be the worst, like my worst BRAWL entry that I've done. But the more I kind of like started writing the script and I got like the voice actors and everything, I was like, actually, this is turning out to be like the best BRAWL entry I've ever done. And yeah, I was just like. I was actually really happy with like the dialogue, like I feel like it is generally quite funny. the comedy was definitely inspired by like early seasons of The Simpsons. I feel like it does have that kind of vibe. I don't know as much as I actually say about this. I feel like I'm generally really happy with it, and I feel like I was able to kind of blend different kind of genres and start like kind of like styles. I wanted to do something that was pretty much just like a cartoon. So the animation is way more exaggerated than like other films I've done. I'd like pretty much like the entire film, the characters are moving. There isn't really a point where they'd stop very often, and that was definitely the style I was trying to go for. And yeah, like other films, like the sort of like the Pancake one, I was trying to kind of have that kind of like expressive character animation when they talk and that kind of stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, when you mentioned on Discord during Brawl that every scene was like a different genre, and when I saw that I was kind of thinking, well, that sounds interesting, but is it going to be cohesive or is it going to be like a gimmick or what? But then, as soon as I saw that it was TV based, it's like, oh, that works. It makes sense.
Oh, thanks, yeah.
So yeah, props for that.
Yeah, this was one of my favourite entries this year. Largely,
oh, thank you.
I'm not just saying that just because I'm on your podcast, by the way. I genuinely did. I think it's a brilliant concept. Some really nice animation and camera work, and also I think it's really elevated as well by the voice actors. You've got a really great cast there.
This is a very good cast.
Yeah, I was genuinely like really happy with like the cast.
Yeah, I really liked Chihuahua's voice acting. Thought it fit really well. It's funny.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of funny. Like, he's pretty much the only person in the entire room who sort of like has any common sense, and you've got like a pirate and some Sanjira next to him. I just thought that was just funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the whole like genre thing. I feel like it was kind of an afterthought. Like, I didn't really think of that when I was making it, but then as I was like working on it, I was thinking, actually, yeah, every scene pretty much is a different genre,
It's a good way of getting multiple settings in there.
Yeah.
Really makes it feel large.
Yeah. I think especially really enjoyed working on the interrogation scenes, which was like film noir inspired. I feel like that was the style I managed to do the best. And I just felt like genuinely really happy with cinematography and lighting and that. But yeah, I think it was like with when I was coming up with the idea, it originally I was at this writer's block sort of moment, and usually when I have this sort of block and I'm trying to do like a BRAWL or something, I'll either listen to like some music to try and inspire me, or I would like watch other Brickfilms. And I came across Writer's Block, which is a 2008 Brick film. I can't remember who actually made it. Do you know the one, Penta?
Yeah, it's by some Brickfilms.com members called Quiggy and Fractal Man, who would have been really well known back then, but not so much anymore.
Yeah.
It's actually from 2007.
And from that, I kind of thought of this idea of like you have this writer who kind of never finishes the story, and all these characters sort of like exist in this sort of like alternate universe, and there's like these ramifications of like never finishing a story. And that I sort of thought it would be funnier if I turned it into like a TV network where you've got someone who's just sort of like cancelling TV shows. And that's kind of where the kind of story kind of developed, really.
It was a very interesting premise when that was finally explained. I was like, hey, that's funny. That's cool.
Yeah, thanks. One of the things that I wanted to mention, and it's funny because no one actually has mentioned it, but this is my first ever like dialogue brick film without any mouth animation, and that's simply just because I like ran out of time. I think it was like I also picked like some of the worst faces for trying to do mouth animation, like that smirk, like the style of mouth animation that I do. It just wouldn't have worked, and I was trying to animate it, and it was like 6 hours before the deadline. And I realised it was taking me like 2 hours to do like 6 seconds worth of animation. And I was just like, no, there's no way I can do it. But I deliberately animated the figures in a cartoonish way. And I don't feel like the mouth animation not being there, like I don't think it loses anything from that.
Yeah, actually, I didn't think of that at
Yeah.
all.
I was just gonna say, like, you don't really notice that because, you know, like you said, they're animated in a cartoonish way. They're always moving, so, you know, don't think
Yeah. Even if you, I think like if you do mouth animation, because I know that you do as well. You should always try and animate the figures as if you weren't actually going to do mouth animation, because you don't want to rely too much on the mouth animation being like the thing that is moving, if that makes sense. Because I know that some people do that, but I generally try and animate it as if I'm not doing that. And luckily, in this sort of situation, it meant that you kind of you don't actually notice it's missing. But yeah, should we head over to number 4?
Yeah, it's time to talk about number 4.
Yeah, so The Lost Idol by JoeBor1777.
My man, Joe Boy.
Yeah, we kind of had a funny rivalry with him, you know,
Yeah.
during Brawl. We'd
Yeah.
check in with each other on Discord and stuff throughout the contest.
I was more like I was talking and communicating with him more than my own teammates. Yeah,
But anyway,
yeah. He was like that. He was probably one of the people who I've been on a call longest with. Like I was on a call with him for like the last 24 hours, all in all. It was really weird. That's why we love Brawl, though, right? Ooh, it's crazy stuff that happens during Brawl. Never any time else.
That's true. You get these memorable moments. Yeah.
But to talk about the film, it is a very nice film.
yeah, I mean, it's clearly heavily inspired by Indiana Jones, and, you know,
Really?
yeah, believe it or not. But you know, as a fun pastiche of Indiana Jones, I think it you know, succeeds in pretty much everything it sets out to achieve. I really like, you know, the torchlight. I think he used brick stuff light to get that illuminate that flame. Thought that was a nice touch. I will say though, some animation perhaps could have felt a bit more weighty during the fight scenes and stuff. I'm not sure whether that's just me, personal preference, but
No, I agree. Yeah. Some of it, like the impact could have been harder.
yeah.
Yeah, I just noticed that now. Yeah, you kind of feel, you don't feel that weight.
A bit floaty,
as
is how
much, but-
I'd put it.
Yeah,
But obviously, a great film overall.
yeah, like it's really like I feel like. Do you feel like that this year, like the lighting for a lot of these entries is actually really good?
For sure.
I feel like in previous years, I don't think I noticed that as much, but I feel like people are putting more effort into not only like the cinematography and stuff, but also like lighting.
Well, it's been a trend over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I especially noticed it like when you go into like the cave scene. That was just really nicely lit. I know it's not Johnny Thunder, but like Johnny Thunder was kind of like almost like an unofficial theme of this contest. Like there was so many.
Yeah.
Like these adventure type brick films.
Well, I really like in this how the character with the Johnny Thunder face has the absolutely gigantic hat. It just looks so ridiculous. And the Johnny Thunder face, it's so smug looking. I love how usually in brick films he's like bumbling but thinks he's great. You know, he's not actually much of a good adventurer at all.
Yeah, it was really nice. I loved how simple it was. It was another really simple idea executed to a T. Really, really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the best of these kind of like Indiana Jones-esque kind of brick films that we've seen for quite a while, I think. But yeah, so shall we head over to Degradation?
Oh, yeah.
Third
BP,
place.
you don't sound excited to talk about it's third place placer.
So, yeah, the concept came about. Jared of Brick from HQ and I were brainstorming, and we kept coming back to this idea of a guy dedicating his life to protecting some sort of artifact. But we felt that was a bit generic, and you know, it'd been done before, and we thought other entries might do something very similar. So we decided to put a spin on it and try and make the artifact almost like a character in its own right, and try and present, you know, put a more experimental. I don't mean
Put an artsy twist on it.
I don't mean to sound pretentious, but I mean we tried to put a bit more of an experimental twist on it and focus more on like atmosphere and mood and try and present themes in a more allegorical sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I had just come off the back of Social Cues. Literally, I had finished it and released it a few hours before the BRAWL announcement, or the theme announcement. So I was in no place to give ideas or anything. But and then I had school as well. So for the most part, I didn't really contribute anything other than my own parts and understanding, I guess, the overall theme and symbols and whatnot. And then I put that forth in the cinematography and the shots and everything in my bit. But yeah, for the most part, it was, I don't know,
I mean,
VP and
yeah,
Jared.
I think
There was actually 5 of you, isn't there, animating?
No, it's
not
4.
animating, but like involved in the film altogether. 4.
yeah.
Yeah, so.
So me and Brickfilm HQ wrote it together. Okay, at least came up with the story together. Then James and John from Future Past Productions helped with the animation. Then James contributed towards the editing of his segment. But yeah.
I always do feel like people judge BRAWL entries that have a lot of people in them just inherently. Like, I feel like it's a subconscious thing, even as a judge. I don't know, like to say like, well, this entry had far more people than this one, and and I know that like it's like you can have as many people as you want contributing to it, and it won't affect how you get judged. But even then, I always feel quite weird about it, and it's never like a thing of like, I don't we don't do it to get an edge, because more often than not it's like I want to enter but I don't have enough time, because my parts were all done in 48 hours.
Yeah,
pretty much
all our 4 collaborations, at least one of us weren't able to animate for the whole week, only for a couple of days. So it's not like we've got 4 people constantly working on it start to finish.
Yeah, I do want to at some point do a solo entry, just not because I'm sick of BP. I love him. Oh my god, it's just I haven't had that experience yet, and I've entered 4 times, which is strange to say. But
yeah, definitely in judging, it would be considered, you're not supposed to like consider how many people worked on something. It's just the films you're presented with.
I don't think it makes it any easier, like having a group of people.
If anything, 4 people on this project was even more work, because constant communication, to try and maintain continuity and make the film seem coherent, especially since James and John weren't really there when we came up with the concept and story, so having to explain that to them as best as we could.
Also very sleep deprived and not in the mood to do anything. Yeah.
I really like how there's a bit of a vertigo zoom near the start. You don't really see those in
yeah.
Really well done. That is definitely I think my favourite shot out of your part, VP.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
You can tell that you were very focused on the atmosphere in presentation and all that. I gotta say, was really more than anything, because I think a lot of people do approach everything in a kind of sense of like, well, how can I make this shot look nice but also doing as little work as possible just to convey what I need to do. But there was definitely like another layer to your shots that, I don't know, it's really set them apart from the rest of the video.
Yeah, I mean, I did spend a lot of time trying to fiddling around, trying to perfect the light and the shot composition for each of my shots, which is why I didn't end up animating that much, especially compared to Jared. But yeah.
Tragedy. Well done.
I feel like Lord of the Rings was like an influence on this.
Yeah.
I mean, when they were explaining the concept to me, I was just like, see me in the One Ring, It's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, we did kind of realize the similarities. It was, I wouldn't say it was a direct inspiration when we were coming up with it, except afterwards, that become a source of reference, to try and explain the idea of this artifact that has its own life, and it's all about trying to preserve itself and influence in the minds of others.
We love Lord of the Rings. It's great. I mean, I don't have anything else to say on it, really. It's a bit weird talking about your own film, isn't it? Like, how much are you meant to say on it? Let's move on and talk about other people's stuff. But personally, if I can say a last little word, this is probably my least favorite BRAWL entry. even as the process of working on it. Also, just because it was super unenjoyable, mentally and physically, for me. But also just as a whole, I don't know. But even then, I've certainly come to appreciate it. I think you have to kind of separate yourself from what you wanted it to be and what it then is. And
Yeah,
I
I mean-
the more I've rewatched it and the more time I've had away from it, I've certainly come to appreciate it more. And it's weird how that kind of stuff happens.
I mean, yeah, obviously you're pretty sleep deprived coming off the back of social cues. And also, yeah, we did have to cut a few corners. And it didn't really turn out how we wanted it to.
So sad.
In many
So
senses.
sad.
So, yeah, none of us, I don't think, really liked it when we first finished. But yeah, looking back at it, I do really appreciate what we managed to do on that week.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, it's pretty good. Pretty good. I can't wait for that refined cut.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go. Let's talk about the top two. Let's go. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so we got Night Guard by
Trick or
Trick or Brick.
Yes, my
Uh,
man.
So I mean, this very easily could be an entry to the summer contest.
Yeah.
But,
This is true.
I mean, just as always with Trick or Brick, you know, just like you're always going to get like top 3 material, especially from you know during BRAWL, and yeah, I feel like it's unusual for him to have like such a dialogue heavy film. I don't think he's done one of these for like a couple of years, and yeah, just brilliant work, just as usual, you know.
Yeah, Mans is such a great writer. He must write more. I'm sorry. I love it. No, it was a genuinely super funny and a just well thought out script. I really loved it.
Yeah, and obviously it's pretty much got everything we've come to expect from a Trick or Brick film at this point, you know.
Yeah, I kind of feel like there's not a whole lot to say because it's like, yep, another fantastic film from Trick or Brick.
Yeah. Great
My
concept.
man.
One of the things I really like about it is there's the shot when, you know, I think it's one like 30 when she closes the door, and then the transition goes from like the hatch when the robbers come in,
Yes.
like that kind of thing. It's just like it's so sort of smooth, you know.
Yeah,
We do love really great stuff.
and how subtle he got the camera movement towards the end of that shot as well.
Something else I've really come to appreciate in his films is the sound design. They're really unmatched compared to like most other Brick films, and I also love how he credits every single sound he uses.
Yeah,
I just love that. It's insane. I would not have that much patience.
it does make me feel bad because I just don't do that myself.
Yeah. I suppose you could look at it.
Well, I always use the ones that are like, you know, marked on free sound as free to use without credit.
I don't pay attention to that. I don't even read that stuff. But
So
should. Maybe I shouldn't say this.
I think it's only a real issue if you kind of you know, you're being paid and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Probably.
true. That is true. That's why I do music videos. It is. I am safe.
It can be so hard to find the right sounds, like footprints, like
Yeah.
footsteps is so hard to find that are good.
Like, if you can actually find a way to make it yourself and, you know, make it fit your animation exactly. it
Yeah,
goes a
I
long
actually
way.
found that I animated some footstep sound effects for Outline Episode 5, and I've reused them because they're the best sound effects that I could find, because they're just my own. Because I made I made loads of different types. I did like hard sole shoes on cement, like a cement surface, and then carpet surface, and like running, all that kind of stuff, you know.
You know, that's definitely something I want to try in the future, you know, recording my own sound effects. But yeah, I will say it's also nice to see a horror Brick film. I don't feel like we don't really see a lot of those. Obviously, it's got comedic aspects, you know.
The horror genre in general is it's often mistreated, I find.
Yeah, it's too
in terms
hard-
of the
it's-
people who make them.
It's very easy to fall into cliches very easily when it comes to that genre.
Should we head over to the first place entry?
Yeah, let's do that. Do
Scrap.
that.
Yes, this is Scrap by 2x4 Productions, and who is, by the way, the brother, I believe, of Joshua Nelson.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
That's really cool. I love that it was in 480p. I don't know why. It was initially that's like the first thing I noticed about it, and I loved it.
I think it's one of those kind of situations where, like, because a lot of it is so kind of like bright, you don't notice the low quality.
I don't know. Well, the one thing I found about it that really popped out to me was it felt very timely. It reminded me a lot of the Brickfilms I watched when I was first getting into everything in the medium, and especially with the music. I don't know why. Like the music put me back onto like some Stedman Studio. I can't remember I think that's the name of their channel.
Yeah, Stedman.
And it put me back onto that kind of stuff, and I was like, "Hey, this is great!" And just the 480p quality as well. It was really great. I loved it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's really impressive, and just in terms of the scale of the film, animating with what looks to be like quite a fragile figure, and obviously having to make these massive sets compared to what you would have to do with a minifigure.
Yeah, that's the thing that just really impresses me so much. It's just the scale of it all. Like, I can't imagine having to make something like that, especially for like BRAWL.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes people joke that like if you want to get in the top 10 of a contest, make a non-minifig brick film, and there might be a nugget of truth in that, but it's more like people who are going to make a non-minifig thing, like if they're already at that level, because it's pretty difficult, then it's more likely that they're going to also have good sets and stylish visuals and good use of colors in this film. Like you've got the white like space ship looking parts at the start and the grey and black of the pile of junk. It's all very stylish, cohesive, and of course there's original music that always helps.
It definitely has a kind of mid-2000s feel to it.
Yeah, like Robota.
Yeah, like it definitely Robota, and I think it's like the look and style of it all. And I think that's the sheer amount of like stuff in the in like the dump. It's like quite mad.
I will say one thing that did kind of turn me off, at least when watching it, was the choice. I guess the color of the minifigure against the dump backdrop. It really started to become hard to see what was going on a lot of the time.
Yeah,
although it looked visually pretty, in terms of actually following the story and the action, I was a bit lost at times. So I was like, "What? I'm not blind. I'm sorry. Ableism. Oh God." It was just a bit hard.
Especially as the same black as the background. But I think
it looked great in the beginning.
There is some like repetitive animation as well. Like when he has like the grappling hook, and it's kind of like going up. You can see it kind of being like the same couple of like frames of animation like repeated.
Yeah, you can see that in certain points,
But I was really impressed by, at this scale, how much of it there was. Because, when I was watching this in the playlist and I couldn't see the progress bar or anything, like by the time it was like 2 minutes in, I was thinking, man, that was pretty cool. And then it kept going for another 2 minutes.
Some of the tracking shots, and I think there's a first person shot early on that looks really great. With him picking up the pieces and putting them into the box. That was really well done.
I think it's like the sheer like the amount of work that you kind of imagine it to be a shorter brick film, but it keeps going. Like I think like Penta was saying, like there's just so much to it. And wow, I envy the amount of tile pieces he has. I definitely need some tile pieces.
Right. Yeah, I love the concept of the character like using his intelligence and engineering to escape the peril rather than just purely resorting to like a massive fight towards the end. I thought that was
I feel like it all came together as a whole very well, as a whole film. I mean, some people might think, well, it doesn't have the smoothest animation, why did it win? But it's great as a complete film.
Yeah, well, that's what I love. It definitely seems like an underdog in many ways in terms of first glance, to most people at least. And I think that's what I love about, I guess, these contests and all that. I don't know, the Bricks in Motion judges, compared to most contests I've found, it's not all about animation, which is what I really deeply appreciate, because it definitely leaves a lot up to the creator and making a great film in general.
Yeah, I know I'm always looking for how I feel about something as a film as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really know who was going to win, honestly, and yeah, I feel like it's. I'm really happy to see this one win. Actually, in some ways, you kind of it's
Okay.
almost something that people don't maybe won't expect. You know, some people probably wouldn't expect to win, but I mean that in a good way. Like, I think it's really good that it won. I suppose, yeah.
Well, I think that seems like probably a good note to end it on.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I
congratulations.
must agree, Penta.
Yes, congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Thanks for having
Yeah.
us.
Thank you so much, William. I love you. You're really great. Cool host. And thanks, Penta, because I assume you are the co-host.
This is true.
Yeah. I think we should all get some sleep now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially James.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no rest from me. Jeez. Actually, yeah. No, maybe I'll go to bed early tonight. Let's aim for 2 a.m.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Not really. That would be the earliest I've gone to bed in a long time. Okay.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks for having me.